how does your country consult with the international declarations such as the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People and the Convention on the Rights of the Child?
Whilst Australia is a signatory to them now, they haven't always been. The UNDRIP was not something that Australia initially signed up for. We do now have, through those mechanisms, greater representation of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples in positions that does mean that there are voices. There are people in the system that escalate issues that mean that we don't use those mechanisms, so the UNDRIP and the rights of children, in a way that they could be used, because there are people who don't genuinely believe that they are things that, why do Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander or First Nations Indigenous people have any greater rights or that to anybody else, so it doesn't make any difference. So I think most people wouldn't even know that there is the UNDRIP, and that there is the rights of children globally, from the United Nations point of view. They aren't able to elevate their sightlines from their own environment. As I said, this country though we have a social justice commissioner who is Aboriginal, but again, and does amazing work, but it's still up against a system that is challenged, and most of the political players are still from a particular era. Just prior to the pandemic, the Special Rapporteur also found that Australia still wasn't living up to its obligations under the UN Declaration for UNDRIP, and so we are still challenged in having those international mechanisms recognised as a central lever in this country.
And I was just thinking, as you were talking about that, do you think the universities there are doing the work to help that transformative for policies? Yeah. Or are they meeting resistance?
They're doing work. They are doing work. In the last, 10 years, Universities Australia, who is sort of the overarching academy for the universities, has put in an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander strategy that talks about, obviously, a number of things, but one of them is having Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in the academy as staff and increasing the number of students. And we can only do that when we make a safe environment that recognises culture as a central part of the individual. So there are, but again, it's still left to the passionate, it's still left to, the minority. In health, though, we are seeing a number of professions start to include Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives in their courses through their accreditation processes. So your course won't become accredited unless you can demonstrate that you're working with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander content and putting that into the curriculum. But that's not everywhere, and it's not every profession. Some universities are ensuring that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander content is being taught in the curriculum, but not all. And some universities do have it as a graduate attribute or a graduate outcome for students graduating from their institution around First Nations or Indigenous working respectfully and collaboratively.